So here we are on a panic-stricken Friday afternoon as we're watching the disintegration of the world financial system now in its second phase. But now let's take time out. Let's look at the question of the legitimacy of the U.S. regime. Everybody very disappointed with Obama and Geithner for their sabotage of a whole series of possible anti-Wall Street reforms. And this raises the question again, is Obama blackmailed? And is he blackmailed because he can't produce a birth certificate that makes him into a puppet president of whoever knows the story? And for this, we want to go for an update to Phil Berg in Philadelphia, former Assistant Attorney General of the state of Pennsylvania, former Democratic candidate for governor, senator in Pennsylvania, former Democratic Party official. Welcome, Phil.
My pleasure to be on. That's a good phrase for Obama, a puppet. I mean, I think I've mentioned that before, that I think he's being controlled, he's being blackmailed, and unless, one of two things has occurred. Either Obama just fooled everyone up front and had his plans initially, or he's being told what to do at this point. Either way, he's a phony and a fraud, and this is the biggest hoax against the United States of America. So we have to do everything we can to stop him. And the way to stop him, the courts are taking their good old time, is we're going to have this march, which we continued from Memorial Day weekend. We're going to have it probably late August or beginning of September. And what I want it to be, for your listeners out there, I want this to be the largest in Washington, D.C.'s history, because this is so important that our Constitution be followed. And I want everyone to come there, bring a copy of their birth certificate. We're going to hold up birth certificates, and we're going to say, here's a copy of our birth certificate. Obama, show us that you're constitutionally qualified, or resign from office. And we now have, as I mentioned before, this is a massive cover-up. Before it was just a lie and deceit. Now we have a cover-up, and that's what Nixon went out on. He didn't go down on the break-in at Watergate. He went down on the cover-up. We now have Obama in office for 16 months, and we have a massive cover-up. So what's really crucial in the next couple of months as we plan this, we need people around the country putting together groups to come by bus to Washington, to take a train, or however you want to get there. But plan, as soon as we announce a date, to come to Washington so we can stand together and stand in a peaceful fashion. We want a peaceful revolution to get this country back in its right direction. And the only way we can do that is we have to force our national media to cover this story, which we shouldn't have to force. If the national media did their job, Obama never would have been elected president, because he's a total fraud, and this is outrageous. So when we produce enough people in Washington, the national media is going to have to cover it. And the people out there can not only get a copy of their birth certificate, but they should start writing to the local news media and the national news media and tell them they're going to participate in this march, because we're in a constitutional crisis, and we want to do something now to straighten this country out before it becomes too late. Obama has done very destructive, as you, Webster, have gone through, very destructive things during the last 16 months. And it's outrageous. It's outrageous that a president of the United States would go and apologize around the world for things in the past. It's outrageous that a president of the United States would bow down to the Saudi king, bow down to the Emperor of Japan, bow down to the Emperor of China. And I think it just reinforces what many other people believe, that Obama is not for this country. As he stood out there in Iowa during the primaries when the national anthem was being played and every other candidate had their hand over the heart, and Obama stood there with his hand by his side, Obama doesn't care about this country. For months and months, he did not wear an American flag on his lapel. Now he wears it because some people told him he has to. Obama is a Muslim. Obama is out to destroy this country. And the best way to handle it, the Tea Parties are great, Webster, all these other groups, but we encompass everything. Because whatever the Tea Parties are yelling about, whether it's taxation or whether it's about health care or whatever it might be, we cover that because we are calling our march the Obama Birth Certificate Eligibility Obamacare March on Washington. But everything reverts back, because when it is proven that we are correct, that Obama has no business being president, everything he's done will become void, because everything will be voidable because it didn't come from a person that really belongs in the presidency. Obama's a usurper. He's a phony. He's a fraud. Everything out of his mouth lately is like a lie. And the country doesn't deserve that. But the country has to wake up. You have to take some time from your little league, take some of your time from, whatever you're doing with your kids or yourself, and just look at our website, which is obamacrimes.com, OBAMACRIMES.com, and you'll be able to read and see what is really transpiring with Obama. I mean, it's total disgrace. When he ran, he said his administration was be the most open, transparent administration. It's anything but that. Because if you can't even establish the fact that you yourself belong where you are in the White House, then how can anything else be taken in consideration? It really can't. And I think when the American public really find out about this, and that's why I need everyone out there to spread the word, go to your address book, send this out to everyone. The American public doesn't know, but this should be an urgent message to everyone. It should be the top story in every newspaper, the top of the fold front page. It should be the top story on 2020 and Nightline and other stories like that. If it was, Obama would be gone. So we have to stand firm for what our beliefs are, stand firm for the 308 million people in this country who deserve to know the truth, stand firm for our forefathers, stand firm for all the men and women who have died, over 1.6 million who have died fighting various wars, and the 1.6 million who have been injured or wounded in our wars, plus of others who have served our great nation and continue to serve to protect the values established by our Constitution, our Declaration of Independence, and our Bill of Rights. And Obama is a fraud. We have to stand up, because if we don't do it, we're really going down the drain, and who knows what next. Obama next is going to go after the immigration issue, and he's doing things to undervalue what we have worked hard for. When our grandparents came to this country, the first thing they did is they learned English. They made sure that their children went to school, and with Obama, he doesn't care about these things. But the basic point is we have to go back and look at his record, look what he's done. And it's outrageous, but remember, he stated that this could be the most open, transparent administration. Well, it's not open. It's not transparent. You always called it whole with certification of live birth. You never showed a long-form birth certificate. You never showed the papers that came back after you were adopted in Indonesia. And I really think that's my strongest case, which is in the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, where I claim that Obama is not only not natural born, he's not naturalized, but he's an illegal alien, and therefore his term as a United States Senator from Illinois was fraud, and therefore the salary and benefits he received, totaling about $1 million, should go back to the U.S. Treasury. We hope that that's the issue, that case, because that's significant, because the person bringing that action, in my case, I brought it as what's called a relator, that type case has already been up to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the U.S. Supreme Court has stated that that person, the relator, has standing to bring an action. So the sting issue, which has thrown out all these other cases, is here alive in front of us in the D.C. Court of Appeals. So, first off, I thank you, Webster, for having me on weekly to give us updates here. The big thing is our March of Memorial Day weekend is postponed. A new date will be coming up, and I want this to be the largest march in Washington, D.C. history, because we deserve the truth, and if enough people come out, the national media, which is controlled, will have to be with us.
Okay, Phil, we'll be in touch with you next week. See you soon.
My
Try
pleasure.
to fix that date as fast as you can.
I will. Thank you.
Bye-bye. We'll be back in a minute here on World Crisis Radio.